What's going on, Jerome's weekly Q&A? Got a bunch of questions. Let's get to them. Unfaithful. This was a family debate during our Christmas get-together. Majority of my family are Vikings fans, but poo-poo on them every chance they get, especially Kirk Cousins. Question, is Kirk Jeromes Minnesota Cousins the top 7 quarterback in the league this year? Yes. Yes. Absolutely is. They said he's barely top 10. And Jefferson saves him. Okay, well, did Devonta Adams save Aaron Rodgers the last 2 years when he was allegedly the back-to-back NFL MVP? So you can't just cherry pick, man. So you can't say that Jefferson saves Kirk Cousins and in the same breath be like, well, Josh Allen makes Stephon Diggs, or Joe Burrow makes Jamar Chase, or Kelsey makes Mahomes. You can't do that. You can't do that. I understand that you're doing that to try and support your argument, but you can't. You literally cannot have it both ways. And if you try to, I mean, that's when people know not to take it seriously. But when it comes to Vikings fans who poo-poo on their team, sports is an outlet, and some people choose to be positive about it, and some people have it be like a happy outlet of their life, and some people use it to be super snarky. And I don't know, it is what it is. I mean, no two fans are the same. There's not a right or wrong way to be a fan, but what gets me is that fans that constantly poo-poo on the team still get to celebrate the wins. Like they're the ones who are bearing this team. I was like, oh, all these single score wins, and then the comeback against the Bills in overtime, and then the comeback against the Colts in overtime. After the Vikings win a Super Bowl, they'll be the first one at the parade. Is like, I always had faith. Shut up. John Anderson. As always, thank you for your awesome content. Thank you. I have 2 questions. What is our biggest need, according to you, in this upcoming draft? And given that it wasn't your answer, would you draft Florida Anthony Richardson if he falls to 31? I think that. So I was kind of hoping that AR would be the best kept secret of the draft. It's not going to happen. The physical tools, he's going to test completely insane at the combine. He's going to put on a show at his pro day, and I think Richardson. I legitimately think Richardson has a chance to be the first quarterback off the board. I think that he has a chance to be the number 1 overall pick. I know that Bryce Young is a safe pick, but there's a lot of concern about his arm, a lot about his frame as well. Stroud has some question marks. Levis certainly has question marks. Maybe a team like the Texans just wants to gamble on Richardson's upside, which he has tons of it. Right? But biggest need for the Vikings, it really depends on free agency and what the Vikings do with existing contracts. If they trade Daniil, it'll be edge rusher, even though they have Wanham and Patrick Jones second. I think that wide receiver could be up there, even though Thielen's aging out. KJ, I like him a lot, but you could always use another weapon. Offensive line, patenting what happens with Bradbury, yes. Do you bring in the Gopher center? That'd be awesome. Corner is always a need. Jack M. 3 questions. What position do you think the Vikings will pick in this upcoming draft? We got a lot of those. Corner. I don't know. Do you think Jefferson will remain a Viking for the foreseeable future? Yes. I think they will ink him to a 6-year, insanely lucrative, it might be a 6-year, $200 million deal. Legitimately. And what do you think the future of Kirk Cousins is? I think they'll extend him for 2 years this offseason. I think he'll play till he's 37. I love your channel. Been watching since 20,000 subs. OJ Original Jerome. Hey, thank you. Clint. Also, it's really cool when people chime in how many subs they started watching. I'm just watching his growing show. Let's get to 100K. I want that plaque, man. Clint, do you think Ed Donatel and Wes Phillips would be good enough to earn a head coaching job in the future? Donatel is aged out, and also no. Phillips, yes, I think Wes Phillips is going to be a head coach. He might even get a couple head coaching interviews this offseason. Obviously the name recognition helps, being son of Wade Phillips and grandson of Bum Phillips, but also the way the Vikings offense has operated this year compared to last year, and also what Justin Jefferson is doing, he's going to get some looks, as well as I think Matt Daniels is going to be a future head coach. Miles, what quarterback prospect would be the scariest to see on the Lions next year? I was super impressed with Zach Wilson drafting Coleman as well. I feel humbled now. Can't bat 1,000. I would say, actually, Anthony Richardson on the Lions would be disgusting. Having to play Anthony Richardson and his variables and Justin Fields and his variables 4 times a year, that's messed up. Brock Crawford. Do you think Cameron Dantzler would be helpful for the playoffs? Would be tremendous help in the secondary. Merry Christmas. Hey, belated Merry Christmas to you too. He's off the injury report on Thursday this week with that ankle, so he's good to go. Nova Physics, what are your thoughts on Cameron Bynum so far this season? I think he has played decent times, and other times it feels liability blown coverages. Plus, do you think he could be an all-pro caliber safety? All-pro might be a little bit rosy, but I think he certainly has a chance to be like a top 10, 15 safety, top 12 safety. I think that he's made some big time plays. I think that he's definitely been lost in the soup at times in coverage, but a lot of the guys on the back end have done that, especially when they were playing a lot of zone, which requires a lot more communication in terms of exchanges and who's taking who and blah, blah, blah. So I think it's a little bit of growing pains. Also, remember, this is only his second year as a safety and first year as a full-time starter, so give him some time. Bal fans, rank these in order of most likely to be on a rooster next year to least likely. Kendricks, Cook, Hitman, Thielen, Bradbury. I will say Harrison, Bradbury, Thielen, Kendricks, Dalvin. And Dalvin is last by a long shot. The fact that Bradbury is automatically at the bottom, yeah, I think Bradbury is the most likely to be back. Well, him and Harrison. Eric Montiful, your take on New Jersey's next season. What kind of design would you like to see? I don't know. The Vikings have never really changed their jerseys too much. In the 2000s, they did that stripe on the side whole thing, and then now they're doing like the futuristic look and the font and stuff. But I'm actually fine with the Vikings uniforms. I don't think they need to be changed radically. Now, alternate helmets would be pretty sweet. Carl Gerbschmidt Sr. It seems like the 2 receptions the Colts got were both on Jalen Reagor. Do you think he'll be back next year? I think he'll be back next year because he's still on his rookie deal. But, yeah, I mean, miscommunications and just, I don't know. It was really a mess. The 2 interceptions were clearly on Jalen Reagor, not Kirk Cousins. Harm's Way. Do you see Donatell being let go in the offseason? If so, who do you want to see the new DC as the Vikings? I do see Donatell being let go or retiring or being promoted to a senior defensive advisor. If Pettin doesn't want the DC job, I would like to see a guy like Mike Smith, the outside linebackers coach, get a shot. Love to see that. Shika Taru. What would us Minnesotans do if and when we win the Super Bowl? What will the Packer fans who live in Minnesota say? Finally, Can we get more videos with the kiddos, please? Love your videos. Skull. Yeah, sure, probably. I mean, so at school, they did an assignment, and they asked all the kids what you want to be when you grow up, and the daughter said a YouTuber. Actually, a lot of the kids said a YouTuber. I was like, it's not cracked up. What it's all cracked up to be. Vikings fans will go nuts. Packers fans will be like, oh, you only got one. That's exactly what's going to happen. RZ44. Do you think we can beat the crap out of the Packers and Bears go 14-3? Also, Merry Christmas. Merry belated Christmas. Yes. Yeah, I think the Vikings can certainly get right against the Packers. I think they can certainly stomp the Bears. I think they can get to 14-3. Now, will that be enough for the 1 seed? We'll see what happens with Philly these last 2 games. But, of course, that would be enough for the 2 seed since the Vikings do control their own destiny in that regard. King Designer, considering we get the 2 seed, which matchup would you like to see the most? Let's take a look at the NFC standings. Now, this is outdated pending, because the Cowboys won, except that really doesn't change things. Well, they're winning now. So the Vikings right now would be hosting the Commies. I'm fine either way. And even if the Seahawks or the Lions or the Packers, well, the Packers aren't getting in, but if the Seahawks or Lions sneak in, that's fine. Every single year, everyone says, oh, no one wants to play the 7 seed. And then they go up against a team that's earned a home playoff game, and then they get schwacked. Usually what happens. Zach, what will the Vikings record be without JJ? 3-12? Nah. It might be 5-10, somewhere in there. I mean, that's just how good Justin Jefferson is. Cook Productions. Since James Lynch suffered a season-ending injury, who do you think can pick up as a depth piece going into the playoffs? I think the Vikings are fine along the defensive line. I love Asazio Tomowo. I love Kairos Tonga, getting more and more time. Hopefully Ross Blacklock gets in that mix more. Maybe they get, TBD what happens with Bullard. He may be done. Who knows? Kirk Krull, what are the odds of the Vikings moving back to the 4-3 base next year? Probably unlikely. Realistically, we need 4 linebackers if we keep the 3-4 defensive scheme. Okay. Kendrick's gone, Hicks gone. Smith and Hunter are not linebackers. That's my reasoning for going back to a 4-3. Well, just replenish the off-ball linebackers. You got Asamoah, and this is a decent off-ball linebacker draft for Mikes and Wills in a 3-4. So, I'm not sweating it. Tristan. Also, I really like William Kwenku, the UDFA tryout coming out of Temple. I really liked him. Tristan D. If the Vikings win the Super Bowl, will you do a 24-hour stream? Yes. In fact, I'll even stream myself taking a nap, just like passing out from exhaustion. Yeah. I mean, do you know that there's channels, whether it's Twitch or on YouTube, it's just people sleeping? And you can, like, if subscribers pay, like, they can pick ways to wake the person up. Man, this is a weird world, man. Brooks, it's Shrag. Are there any serviceable guards in free agency potentially better than Ingram, Ezra? At this stage of the game, no. John Howard. Surprised you haven't made a video about JJ potentially time-breaking single-season reception record. Yeah, that's true, because it kind of snuck up on me. Maybe we'll just toss that in. Cause he is within striking distance of Michael Thomas. Was it 134? And he's got 111? Something like that. Mac, do you think the Vikings could take the 1 seed, and what do the Eagles have to do to choke against Saints and Giants in the last 2 games? Well, win out, Eagles lose out. That's the only way. Nova Physics, who do you want the Vikings to draft at pick 31? Remember, there's 31 picks in the first round this year because Miami got their pick forfeited. I want to take Anthony Richardson. Yeah, I don't think Richardson gets out of the top 10 at this rate. Connor May. I looked up what ISM and Armand have done this year and found ISM is now with the Chiefs. Yeah, he got bounced pretty quick after he fumbled the game away against the Vikings. Armand has been decent. I think he started most of the season for Chicago. Kyle Garberger, who's the most valuable to the Vikings interior defensive line this year? Harrison Phillips, absolutely. Not only solid against the run at times, but also has been getting some decent pressure. Drew Wanzik. My son is 2 years old, and I have been indoctrinating him into the Minnesota Vikings way since birth. I want to purchase his first jersey. Who do you think I should go with? I would say, obviously Justin Jefferson makes sense. I wouldn't really take a shot on any of the other younger players because you don't really know. You go different and get Darisaw. That'd be pretty sweet. Or just go classic. Get like a Randy Moss or a Chris Carter, or it might be fun to get a Jared Allen. My wife has a Jared Allen jersey. She thinks it's funny. T Banker, Skull Vikes, but what your thoughts on the college football playoff games this weekend? Who advances to the Natty? I think Georgia shellacks Ohio State, and I think Michigan handles TCU. I think that'll be a tighter game than people think. But yeah, Georgia and Michigan, a rematch of the semifinal last year, and I think Georgia's going to win it all again. I mean, Georgia's a really, really good football team, man. Shaq Pack 51. Are we getting, although Ohio State, Michigan State for the national title would be fantastic. I mean, I don't have a pony in that race, but I mean, those two rivals for the national title would be awesome. Are we getting comfortable relying on Greg Joseph knowing Vikings luck? Also, I still think when he finds a place, stash him next year on practice squad. Yeah, Vikings history of kickers. It is what it is. Vikings play close games. Greg Joseph's been really good as of late. Dominic Verger, who do you think we play in the first round of the playoffs? Let's take a look. It's in a book, Reading Rambo. I think the Commanders hang on. I think they string together a couple wins. I mean, they're hosting the Browns this weekend, and then they have I believe they have the Cowboys week 18. The Cowboys may be locked into that 5 seed anyway. So I think the Commanders hold off the Seahawks and the Lions, and obviously the Packers. Next up, Kyle Enstrom. It's time to fully unleash Brian Asamoah. Yes, I would start him over Hicks, or have Hicks play early downs and then put Asamoah in on passing downs. Memphis Wilson. Do you follow any other sports besides football or even college football? I follow college football as a casual fan, which is kind of nice because you don't really have, well, I guess I'm like a geographical default Gopher fan and like a quasi-USC fan and a quasi-Texas fan. That's about it. Not really. Like, I follow baseball somewhat, but, I mean, can't really have an educated conversation about it. Hell, can't even have an educated conversation about the NFL. But I like going to baseball games. Like, I love going to Twins games. I love going to St. Paul Saints games. And just, I don't know any of these players. I know they're AAA now, but let's just have a beer and a dog and let's go from there. King Designer. Irv Smith return? Yes. Also, if JJ gets 2K and gets 10 touchdowns, do you think he can actually win MVP? I think if he leads the league in receptions, yards, gets 2K, double-digit touchdowns, the Vikings somehow get the 1 seed, I think they have a chance. I think he does have a chance. It's a regular season award, and that's a really impressive resume. Jake Lagovin, is Dontel's defense similar to what Daniil played in at LSU, minus a handful of games this year? He hasn't seen him dominate. LSU did mix in some odd and even man fronts when Daniil was there. That's why I'm pretty optimistic about the switch to the 3-4, although Donatel has reverted him to the bread and butter. He's been playing right and left side, but he's basically just been attacking the quarterback every single time. So I think that they're putting him in the best spots to succeed. User, who do you see as AFC champions right now? I think the Bengals might sneak in there. I really do. They have a chance to beat the Bills. I think they have a chance for the 1 seed. Everything comes through Cincinnati. They already beat the Chiefs. I mean, they're the reigning defending AFC champions, man. Justin Miller, rank your top 5 MVPs on the Vikings rooster this season. Jefferson, Kirk, Za'Darius, Darisaw, and Harrison. It's very close between Harrison and Danielle. And then Garrett Bradbury might be 7. Would you trade a 4th for Zach Wilson? Let him sit a year and see what he's got after that? I would offer like a 6th. Yeah. Vikings fan. Not sure how likely it is. Anthony Richardson, take him. Yes, absolutely take him. I don't think that he's going to get that far. May have to maneuver for him. Alex Weitzel, what do you project will be Justin Jefferson's contract will be? I guess 33, 34 million a year. So I threw out 6 years, 200 million. That seems about right. So that's about 33. User, are the 49ers the biggest threat to us in the playoffs? Yes. I'm actually more concerned about the Niners than I am the Eagles at this point. Planes and gains. And the Vikes can beat or lose to any team in the league, but we have won 12 or 15 games and considered a good team that wins of it instead of being considered lucky. When we have to win the Super Bowl. And even if and when the Vikings win the Super Bowl, they'll be, the luckiest team in NFL history. Jermaine Williams. Who are your top 3 favorite comedians, and who are your top 3 favorite movie characters? Top 3 comedians, I would say Chappelle, Bill Burr, and probably Joey Diaz. Joey Diaz is hilarious. He's amazing, man. Top 3 favorite movie characters? I guess Rocky Balboa would be up there. Brad Pitt in Fight Club. Oh, Heath Ledger's Joker. Yeah, that'd be up there. Fig Nuts. Oh, Teddy KGB. Why not? Even if Cam Dantzler gets completely healthy, do you think he ascends any higher than the nickel corner, especially as well as Duke Shad's been playing? Well, he's not even nickel, where Shadnan's obviously in the slot. Duke's been on the outside. And, yeah, I think that maybe they'll rotate him in, maybe not. We'll see. But, yeah, Duke has done enough that he deserves to stay on the field. Praise the sun. Vikings need to clean up return coverages or that the Packers' return will get a touchdown or have their offense starting a great field position. Yeah, but Nixon's dinged up with that groin. He might not even play on Sunday, and that would be a big loss for Rich Bisaccia and the Packers. Will Bumblebee. When will they start to believe? 2 is Darisaw, our new Corey Stringer, RIP Corey Stringer. Well, I mean, Corey Stringer is a right tackle. Darisaw is a left tackle. I mean, Stringer was insanely athletic for his size. He could dunk a basketball flat-footed, just jump and do the damn thing. But no, Darisaw, the comps are there. Darisaw is Trent Williams. That size, that speed, that strength, the agility, and it's just amazing, man. I love Darisaw. Traveler, can we afford JJ's contract next year and still maintain acquire great talent around him? Do you see a place where the value-driven Kwesi and JJ don't come to agreement and he's out? I don't see that because I think Kwesi understands it's a passing league and Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the game. I think that cap-wise, they can make it work because they can still incorporate his rookie deal, maybe even his 5th-year option into the new money. So the only cap impact this next year would be the proration of a signing bonus. So we can go from there. Destined for greatness. If Jim Harbaugh comes back to the NFL, we want revenge on us? Probably not. Nah. Quentin Berg, the Eagles are struggling. I feel like the Cardiac Kids have a real shot at the 1 seed. Your thoughts? Would love to see it. I mean, just want to see the Saints. Hell, I mean, the Eagles can win week 18 against the Giants, and I wouldn't care. But just lose to the Saints. Just let us have a sweat to beat the Packers and then beat the Bears. Cole, is it called stuffing or dressing? I think if it's been in the bird, it's stuffing. But if it's not, it's dressing. Even though it's ubiquitous either way. Or interchangeable. Who gets cut in this offseason? Who replaces them? I think the Vikings, there's going to be a bloody offseason. I think that there's a chance that they move on from Thielen. I think that they're going to cut Dalvin just because he's going to be 28, making $10.4 million a year. That doesn't compute with analytics. I think they're going to cut CJ Ham, unfortunately. I think that Irv is gone. I think that Munt probably still stays. It's probably it for changes. Yeah. Seabrisk, how did you become a Vikings fan? Dad and Grandpa were. That's about it. Steve Jones, follow up to Colin Coward prediction of 13-4. Everyone laughed at it. Who's laughing now when they win 14? Skull. That's fair. Well, initially he said they're going to double their win total from last year, and he didn't realize that they won 8, so 16-1. Although, I mean, it's getting pretty close, man. Skull Vikings. How to defend the Packers? Aaron Jones, Dylan. Stack the box. And Brian Asamoah. iMovie King. Is Sean Payton building a super team with the Broncos? They don't have a lot of draft picks to give up because the Saints still hold his rights, and I mean they can't send a first or a second over the next 2 years. So what are they going to do? I think most likely Sean Payton returns to the Saints and Tom Brady leaves as a free agent and joins him in New Orleans. I think that's what happens, man. Or maybe Brady to the Raiders with McDaniels. That makes sense. Bennett Durham Klein, what's the game plan for Green Bay next week? We after that ass, Aaron. And then run the ball and let JJ be JJ. That's it. Justin Miller, reaction to the report that T.O. has been in contact with Jerry Jones and wants to work out with him. No, T.O.'s like 47. It's stupid. Tristan D. Sunday Ticket is going to YouTube next year. What are your thoughts on that? I think it's great. I think that DirecTV wasn't as good with Sunday Ticket as they should have been. I think YouTube is great because it's more accessible to more people. Also, it sounds like you won't need a YouTube TV subscription to get Sunday Ticket, so that would be great. And I think it would be a better, more streamlined, and probably cheaper way for out-of-market fans to keep up with their favorite teams. Connor May, how many sacks has Brian O'Neill given up this year? I don't know. Too lazy to look it up. User, in all honesty, with how bad this defense, are we a Super Bowl caliber team? Yes. This defense can get after the quarterback at times, and they can generate a turnover, and that's really all you need. Derek Baker, Kirk Cousins, masochist, situational master, or master of his football domain. Meet your group, choose a facilitator, discuss. I think that he is perfectly comfortable wherever he is, and he marches to the beat of his own drum for sure. Reed Jensen, we are 12-3, but will we go far in the playoffs with this team getting blown out by the Eagles and Cowboys? That was a long time ago. How's this team playing now? How are the Eagles playing now? A showdown. Did Aaron Rodgers join a boy band with that haircut of his? Did you get a bowl of soup with that haircut? Mark Abrams, do you think we are legit? I want to say yes. G. Speezy, do you think JJ has a shot at MVP? Yes. Vinny Peller, why is Kirk hated on so much? Because he's a goober and he's kind of awkward, and it's sort of like like in high school when people start picking on one person and then they just keep doing it, and then eventually people start doing it because it's cool, and then even though circumstances change, you keep just ripping on them just because that's how it's always been. And I think the media people ripping on Kirk Cousins is just inertia. I mean, it's a narrative that's been established, and then, just go on TV and parrot the narratives. That's exactly what Channing Crowder did on ESPN First Take this week. So stupid. Dakota Storms, can the Vikings beat Eagles in playoffs? Yes. Connor May, why is the Packers game on CBS as it's Nance and Romo? I would have thought it would have been on Fox. There was a little bit of horse trading and swappy swap. So CBS has the late window premium game, and when they flex games out of the afternoon, Sunday afternoon. So CBS and Fox loses a great game, goes to NBC. CBS and Fox gets a worse game. There's generally some horse trading that goes on. It's like, okay, we'll give up this game, but we want this game. And I think that's what happened with the Vikings and Packers. Pulford, hear me out. Brock Purdy takes 49ers far this season. Then they make him quarterback 1. Cam offered John Lynch. They have a good relationship. John Lynch was Quasey's mentor. First or something for Trey Lance, and then go next to the Packers. So no on Watson, but I mean Trey Lance would be interesting. Although they did give up 3 once for him, they probably wouldn't want to give him up for cheap. There would probably be a market for him, but that would be super interesting. Pride of Marshall, Minnesota, come back home. And that's it. That is the weekly Q&A. Thanks for submitting your questions. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.